need to be on our page and then share it to Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, like the button is on now. Very good. So now that link should be available on our YouTube, and then we can put it right onto Facebook for that sharing. So, giving some folks some time to get in to join the show on tonight as we share. All right, let's see if I can get it. We definitely miss Erica tonight for the blooper because she usually gets us going with a first a
So
first part. You know, she gets us going with like something. It's something. She does something, but we pray that she gets better and that she is well. Okay, I'm just looking to see if I can't see it coming up. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but if somebody gets it before me, please drop it in the group so that I can put it there. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome in. It is the first Friday of the month. And here we are, women of the word. Our conversation topic of tonight is going to be super exciting. It, of course, is what is understood does not need to be explained. Season 1, episode 7. I know we don't have any intro music. Just pretend like you heard something, okay? We're working on it, all right? Don't rush us, okay? We on season number 7. We probably on season 10, but we don't know. But we just gonna go with what we have right here. So I appreciate you all tuning in. I am Sabrina Boardley. Welcome into the show. Go ahead and invite Lottie Dottie and everybody. Tell them it is time to start this party. Let's go ahead and get 10 for the win. Share because you care. Invite because it is right. You can follow me on Facebook at Sabrina Servants Boardley. I'm going to turn it over to Benicia. She will let you know who she is.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Benicia, and I'm excited to be here. New year, new month. So I'm excited about the conversation for tonight, and looking forward to your comments and feedback.
Thank you so much. And Kayla.
hey everybody, I am super super excited to be here as well. I'm just grateful for the new year, new conversation. You can find me on all platforms: Facebook, Kayla Wallace Robertson; Instagram, Kayla7243; TikTok. I think I'm just Kayla7243 as well. So, yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Well, that is exciting. I found it. I am sharing it here so that we can join this conversation. On tonight, you guys, we are talking about what is understood does not need to explain and so be explained. So let me give you a little background commentary. I asked the group, we got a little chat group and we don't socialize in there all day because we all have lives. But one day I just dropped in the group, explained a scenario in a situation and kind of said, like, if you know me, you know. And I felt like the person should have known me, but obviously they didn't really know me like I thought they should have. And I'm kind of like, why did I really have to explain this? You had to know that something was happening, something must have been going on. I think a lot of times, I'm just going to jump into it because it was something that was brought to me. I think a lot of times we make assumptions, or the way that you come off to a person can be a little bit off-putting. It could kind of make them feel like you aren't really concerned about what they have going on. It's more about how come you didn't show up or do what I asked you to do or respond back or something like that. So it's kind of like your emotions or what you're dealing with is negated. It's as if it really doesn't matter. And so that's a situation that I ran into, and I have learned as becoming a mature adult that you have to provide grace. Grace is one thing that I have always harped on because I am learning that. So I can't just simply jump in and say, where you at? I gotta say, praying all is well. I know that we were supposed to X, Y, and Z. Unfortunately, I didn't see where we could go ahead and, do X, Y, and Z. But I hope all is well with you. Just reach back out to me, not where you at. I'm just kind of like, you just got to know that something is going on, especially if you have that relationship, especially if you have like a bond and someone doesn't fulfill a requirement. There had to be a reason. So what is understood doesn't really need to be explained. So that was kind of the area that I was coming from, just being able to say, well, dang, like, no, the salutation was dry. Okay. So it told me that you really weren't concerned about what was happening. So now I'm feeling some kind of way because I done got an attitude, because I got stuff going on that I'm dealing with that I really don't feel like explaining to you, so that was kind of the headspace that I was coming from. And then I jumped in with the ladies and said, hey, let me know, am I wrong? Am I, did I not do something correctly? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And this is how this commentary kind of came about. So you guys, when we start talking about what is understood does not need to be explained, come to us from your experience or even from a different avenue. I'm going to open the mic up.
Well, I'll start with just saying, I was just looking at the bottom. It's
Yes,
always one.
ma'am. You'll start with
Hey, girl, hey.
Good
welcome.
morning. Good evening.
Um, what about, so I understand what you're saying, but when now you want me to kind of piggyback off of what you said or just
No,
give
you can come
what
from
you
a totally
think?
different
Okay.
angle. Totally different angle.
So, it's kind of similar to what you said, but what about from coming from a place of like, as I'm just at the age, like you said, I'm just in this place in my life to where, like you said, if you've been rocking with me and like, I just don't understand why you
Mhm.
won't offer me grace, or why you just don't know how to approach the situation, even if I came up short, like, you just expect those certain ones. Now, other people, I expect whatever I expect, but
Mhm.
it's just certain people in our lives you expect for them to just know. And it
Right.
is frustrating, but at the same time, I guess sometimes you have to remember that everybody, as long as you may be in tune with that person, they may just don't think the way you think.
Maybe.
And I mean, to us, it seems very simple.
Mhm.
Like, you should know,
Mhm.
but I'm learning that a lot of people don't know. They really don't know. So I don't know. It can be frustrating at times.
Mhm.
Um it can affect everybody in different ways, but it definitely, if you're not careful,
Right.
it can ruin relationships. It
Mhm.
can make you shut down. It can make you pull back. It can make you reevaluate your interactions, which, I mean, some of that stuff may need to happen, but I'm just saying, it's just one of those things. It just leave you with this feeling. I can't even
Yeah.
really explain. So that's just my input.
Anybody else? Give me some commentary on it. What do you think? Is it the same perspective? Can you see it from a different angle? Maybe seeing it from the angle of the person who's coming in and not really acknowledging, what's going on.
For me, I it's kind of along the same lines as Kayla. I think that a lot of times we think that, or we forget that everybody's understanding, or doesn't, or they're not going to see it your way, or even think how you think. So you think, until you come into that realization that this or whatever is understood, we don't have to do all that explaining or whatever. But where it differs for me a little bit is in this season of my life. I'm okay with explaining.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I don't want to make an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
I ask a whole lot more questions for clarity so that it is understood and I'm not just thinking that it's understood. So that's just kind of where I'm at. Like, it used to be a little agitating to me because I'm like, well, I shouldn't have to explain this. Now I thought, you understood or you knew me or whatever the case is. But in realizing that that's not always necessarily the case, I have no problem with with explaining, because now I take the time to explain it to you. Now I know you know. So from this point forward, you choose to act like you don't know, whatever the case is, that's on you. But then now I say, I can say, okay, so what's understood don't gotta be explained no more.
Right.
But that's just kind of where, that's my take on it.
I think that's good to be, and that goes back when you said to explain it. I think that's good as well. But for me, I do not like to explain myself. You know why? It stems from always being questioned as a child, like always being questioned. And so, but now let me tell you the caveat to that. I'm the one that always question other people. Like, I don't want to be questioned, but I'm the one that question other people. I don't know how that, that's me. I can't talk for nobody else, but that's me. And I try to understand, like, okay, Sabrina, wait. Now you don't want to, respond, or you feel like you shouldn't have to, but then you want others to do that for you. So you see what I'm saying? I'm at a place where, okay, let me get me together, because I'm finding that I'm walking in hypocrisy. Because how is it that, you know, I want an explanation, but I don't want to give an explanation. So I think, and even with the things that I had going on at that moment, I think my level of irritation had set in. And I was just kind of like, well, I ain't explaining nothing, because you ought to know me by now. So I had got an attitude. I had automatically copped the attitude. And that's when you got to have people around you that can ground you and say, hey, listen, I don't think it was that. I think we need to take a step back, reevaluate, the conversation, and then we can go from there. So I did go back and, of course, explain what took place, and what was happening. And then they understood. But can we pause right here, though, and talk about the communication piece? I didn't communicate because I just assumed that you knew that if I wasn't there, that something had to be going on. So talk to me about the importance, Erica, of communication. How important is that?
And you would give me that question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I just I believe that those of us, we communicate. We have different communication styles. So coming from a person that don't like to communicate, I just I just believe that if you have people in your life, that you should get to know their communication style, whether it's very little or very much. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know, ask. I am one that tends to assume a lot of times because
Mm-hmm.
I just try to respect people where they are. So I just believe that if you don't know, ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we misinterpret what's not said a lot of times
Right.
due to the fact of, like me, I try to respect a person's privacy.
Right.
And I try to give people the opportunity to communicate when they are ready. But sometimes that can be a negative because a lot of times people want to be asked, how you
Mm-hmm.
doing, what you're thinking. So respecting people privacy sometimes can be a negative.
True.
But then on the backside is a lot of times, I can say for me, I don't trust a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it may take me a while to let you in.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process, it may seem that I'm standoffish. It may seem that, I have an attitude or what have you. But it's not that. It's just that it takes some time to build up to where I'm gonna let you in. Because a lot of times, sometimes when we communicate, and if you're not mature enough to understand what that person has been through or what that person is going to, you can interpret it into something that is not there.
Right.
So when it comes to communication and communicating what you're thinking and how you feel, for me, just I could just say for me, you have to gain my trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then too, and like I say, not communicating can be negative because in the meantime of what the standards that I set, the boundaries that I set, the walls that I set, that can be bad coming to somebody um who might be valuable in my life. But because I don't know how to communicate it, and I have those walls and those insecurities that I'm working through,
Mm-hmm.
is that fair to the other person?
Wow.
I'll jump in right though. No, it's not. Um, this is now what we
Mm-hmm.
this real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
a lot now, if you are close to somebody who you guys are really building something, or you say you close,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This how I feel. You do have to learn that person,
Mm-hmm.
like because we are totally different. We will take somebody like Erica because of everything she said. Like in the beginning, I didn't understand that,
Mm-hmm.
but now I I get it. So
Right.
now I'm able to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
when she over there, she ain't answering, and she did. I'll see her at the funeral. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she
My
ain't,
God.
she ain't got. Because I don't know if you breathe. I'm just gonna have to be at the funeral. Because when she is not, she
Yeah.
comes off the face of the earth. But I understand in the beginning I did,
Mm-hmm.
but now I understand. And then
Mm-hmm.
you do have to, like, people, us as people, we
Yeah.
do create patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, the first time I may have been thrown off. After the second time, I'm like, okay, the third time, I get it. I'll just let her reach out to me. And then
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
have to really realize, like, that's how she deal with whatever she dealing with. I'm different. I like to talk about it. I like to get
Mm-hmm.
it out. Like that's just how I am, but that's not how she is. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that it's all bad, but I've taken some things from that too. I mean, when I don't hear from her now, I'll go into prayer instead of getting in my feelings. I'm just using an
Mm-hmm.
example
Right.
or whatever. Okay, now I go into prayer because clearly something is wrong or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when you in close communication with people and in relationship, I do believe that it's okay to learn how that
Mm-hmm.
person moves. And you can sit there and get in your feelings, but like you said, you don't know, and everybody do stuff different.
Yeah.
So you have to learn and be in tune and watch. Sometimes people will show you without saying it. Like
Right.
that's the pattern. I don't need her to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing that. After two times, I already know. That third time, I'm like, okay, I already know what this is, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
And like I say, it's not, and it comes, when you don't communicate past hurts and traumas. And, but then, like I say, it's not all good, but it's not all bad. But it's
Right.
communication, just like Kayla say, when you learn that when a person is important to you, you
Mm-hmm.
learn their patterns.
Mm-hmm. Right. And allowing them that space. I think sometimes we forget that we have to allow that space because I
Mhm.
am one, although I'll talk it out, I do retreat. Um, and it's so fun that we have taken this, we still on topic, but we have taken this pivot just a minute because I think communication in this new year is going to be so important. It's going to be so vital. It is going to be so vital. It is going to be so vital. It is going to be key because if we don't learn how to voice or say we could misconstrue something. We could misconstrue. I do retreat. when something is going on, or I retreat in my mind. Like I don't want to, I'm not an oversharer. I'll share with people, but it's not like what is happening. I'm still dealing with those trust issues. And I think that's a lot of the things that we deal with as well. But I let certain people in to certain things. Like you only going to go so far with me. And then I have others, that I fully communicate with, like this group. I feel very, very confident that what we share is what we share, and that's it. And what we share, if we don't have a response right then we pray about it. And then someone might reach out privately and say, hey, I've still been praying for you about this, and how are you going through? How are you moving through? If we can be transparent and real, I mean, this group started off with multiple people, but when truth and transparency became a part of the agenda, people dropped off, and I was okay with that, because one thing that I know, and two things that I stand on, is that truth gonna stand any day of the week. And if how come if I see you going down the road with a pothole, I don't tell you to stop before you bust your tire? That's not being a good friend. That's not being my sister's keeper if I don't tell you when you're getting ready to make an error. But a lot, we sometimes we don't want to receive it at that time. But truth be told, they've come back and apologized and said, I wasn't ready to hear it at that time. Now, for me, I got to learn timing, and I'm working on that. I got to learn timing. I got to learn how to, say it. Wait, don't say it right now. You got to, you got to learn timing. But being able to hear and to receive, not to respond, that is also understanding. Um, Really, you can read the undertone of what's not being said. So your good girlfriend, what she's not saying, you know what she's not saying, and that's what you begin to tune in on. So that's kind of where we were going with that commentary, being able to understand what's really not being said without it, having to be said. So what are your thoughts on that, B?
I think that's good, like what you just said, especially the ending part, about, and what Kayla shared as well. When you know somebody, you start to learn their patterns and their habits and stuff like that. So, it becomes something that's understood. But I too think that communication is good. Um, I retreat, but I think like I only do it so that it doesn't, I just say, become like a red flag to somebody. Like if I'm gonna back up, I'm gonna back up, but it's not gonna be drastic. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it enough for me to do what I need to do. And and then I'll come back. But um I think with communication, open and honest communication, it doesn't it you can't cover everything, but it doesn't leave like loops and gaps and things for people to misunderstand something or form their own opinion. And I've not always been like that, because growing up and being younger, I was very introverted. So I wouldn't communicate a lot. I would deal with a lot of things internally. But when I learned that, that's not necessarily always good or the best thing to do, I would begin to communicate a little better and got comfortable with sharing my feelings, got comfortable with saying, hey, I don't like that. Or um, maybe we can look at it this way, or whatever the case is. And I know it's been a whole lot better for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like way more comfortable, with communicating now. And I think I understand it now to be something good. Now there are times where I won't, overshare, over communicate, depending on what it is. But I have no problem with, I used to have a problem with just giving my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
not, in a good way. Because I was like, well, I don't want everybody to think like this of me, or think that I think this, or whatever the case is. But um, I think it's good to, especially when you're in close communication with somebody or close relation with somebody, to know that person's patterns. But I also think that it's good for a person to communicate, um, you know, their patterns as well, as best as they can. For me, if I'm trying to get somebody, or I'm used to hearing from somebody, and I'd be like, hey, just wave a white flag or something. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Look out down there in the corner smiling. Let me know that you
See,
Mhm.
just
understood.
point it. Hey, we just gonna have to show up at the funeral. 'Cause let me tell you something. I'm telling you.
But I mean, I love her to death. And I mean, I know that. Like, I don't question that at all because I know that now. But she know I'm still be like, all right, so you got like one more time to not respond to me. I don't care if you say leave me alone. Like, I know, okay, I know you alive and well to a certain extent. Um, so yeah, that's what I think.
So, Erica, why do you do that?
I, not that I think, but I know is for so long, like this is the most that I have ever let anybody in because seems in my times when I do let people in, I always end up getting hurt.
Mm,
I always get disappointed in those that I let into my innermost space, which is my
mhm,
heart. I have always been let down.
mhm,
And when I can take back from this last relationship, I let her all the way in.
mhm,
And she hurt me when she left.
mhm,
We still haven't talked about it. I know it
mhm,
was a major disagreement because I didn't agree with what you're doing. But also too, if you know Erica, you know that Erica ain't gonna compromise
mhm,
with certain things. I'm just
mhm,
not gonna do it.
mhm,
So if I it's okay that if we don't agree on everything,
mhm.
that still is not gonna stop my love for you. And when
Right.
I love you for real.
Mhm,
This is not a plaything for me. Love is so intentional when it comes to being a part of my life because of how I grew up.
right.
So if I allow you to be a part of my life and my
Mhm,
family, that means you in there.
mhm.
But when you just hop up and leave me, that's another abandonment issue. That's
Mm,
another trust issue.
mm,
And when I let you around my husband and my children, you in there.
mhm,
You are a part of my life. And not that I'm not a secretive person, but I do have standards.
mhm.
I do. I have standards that I'm not going to compromise on. We can
Right.
talk, kiki, laugh, or what have you, but God is the center. And it's
Mhm,
certain things that I just will not compromise on. And I think if you know me and you love me, you can tell me your deepest, darkest secret, and I'm gonna hold it close. But I
mhm.
will not compromise. And it's certain things that I will not compromise on. And when you hold that against me,
Mm,
that's like you do not respect the God in me, the God that I believe in, the God that I serve. And if I don't compromise in my own life, I will hold your secret. And when I tell you, because people that's in my life, they come to me because they know who I am. They know who I serve. And I'm not a judgmental person. And that's why you're able to come to me. I'm able to be that vault. But if I'm going to be your vault, don't make me into your situation.
mm, mm. That's good. That's good. I like that. So, Kayla, with the conversation though, with what she said, I don't want to keep putting myself out there to be let down again. So, speak to that woman that's on the line tonight who is feeling the exact same way. I keep putting myself out there, but I don't want to keep putting myself out there and keep getting let down. What do I do? How do I move forward? Do I continue to be guarded? Do I allow for another opportunity? What does she do to grow?
I think my advice would be we it's just our reality. People are going to let you down. It doesn't matter who it is. we're going to face, letdowns, disappointments. It is a part of life. So, I know all we can do is, are we in control of is how we, maneuver with people, or maybe, like you said, sometimes not sharing too soon. Like, just we can be cautious on how we move in that relationship. But to throw, I wish we could just throw people away. Like, but we just can't do that because of the God in us and because of what our standards are. I, I'm sorry, we just can't do that because we are not like everybody else. Now I'm talking. Now I'm saying this piece for the true believer. That's one thing, but then maybe for that person who may not have a relationship with God and they are just solely tired of dealing with people who constantly let them down. um I think that it's a part of life, and I think that maybe you could do it. May start with some self-work,
Mm-hmm.
because, and I only say this because maybe the people um who you may be dealing with, like, what if these are people you should not be connected to?
Mm-hmm.
And but it could, how they say sometimes you attract who you are. Something inside of you may attract those type of people. So I'm big on just self work, personal growth, because when you know yourself, like, I think that's how you can create relationships, or you'll know who you need to be connected to. And I don't know, I just feel like just being in tune with yourself sometimes, that can help us uh
Mm-hmm.
not see red flags early on. I know sometimes people just love hard, like they really do, they just give they all. It just doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. Did y'all hear that?
Okay, firework. Okay, I'll be like, is they shooting? Because it ain't at
Now,
my
I'm about to
neighborhood.
see if I need to grab my
Okay.
but
Is they
but you know
shooting?
how they do the new, it's usually like all week,
Okay, because I'll
but
be like, is they okay, all right, okay. We
boy,
all
that's
stop like
not going live. I am so sorry, y'all.
okay.
But it is fireworks. But so I just want to, and I don't know, like, this really is something that we all deal with because we all have been hurt.
Mhm,
And I don't know if it's a right or a wrong answer, but I just would say, as far as a little bit of guidance, like, not that you want to go around expecting people to hurt you.
mhm,
None of us want to do that,
mhm,
but it can happen, and it is a part of life. And
mhm,
sometimes you just have to deal with it when it happens, if it happens. But also, just in your relationships, just be as aware as you can with some red flags. And when
mhm,
little things happen, go ahead and communicate that. I don't care if it is something that's repeated and it may not be a big deal. Well, no, I need to go ahead and address that, because
mm,
what if that was something, like Erica said, that was so near and dear? Like, we can't play around with that. And when you
right.
address that early on with the small things, and maybe you see how that person respond, that might be your indication that that's it right there, as far as what I share with that person. I don't mean you don't love them. You may still have a relationship with them, but we can't go there.
Mhm,
So I don't know. Sometimes each person is different. And I think disappointment hits us all different because of what we've been through.
mhm,
What may disappoint Erica may not be a letdown to me. She,
mhm,
it's what she experienced
right.
determines, what I'm saying, it's gonna hit different. So it's different in all of our lives. So we can just do the best we can do with just protecting ourselves, and just look out for red flags and different things like that. And of course, it goes back to communicate just early on. It
Mhm.
ain't nothing too small, because anything could be magnified, or that, you just ain't, just communication. That's all.
So, and we understand that Kayla says, let's do the self work. Let's see where we are. And that's where I am in life right now. Let me make sure, let me check me first. The topic says what is understood does not need to be explained. So be the relationship between Erica and the person went left. I feel like Erica shouldn't have had to explain her standards because they should have been understood if we had built a bond. Why is it so easy for people to cross the line?
Um, because they don't have a standard.
Hmm.
That's what I feel. And it's kind of like Kayla kind of hit on it a little bit. Um, there may have been a point in time where the person may have said something, or kind of slick or whatever, and it might not have been um that big of a red flag, and they thought, well, okay, that she okay with this, and this is just general. So then whatever the situation came up or whatever, they might have thought that it was okay, or people are they're okay with you until they're not. When you stand on, because
Ah.
you can set the standard in the beginning. So, and if you um most people are observant to a certain extent. So even as you're building a relationship, or right before you build a relationship, you may know something about the person if you've observed them or been around them, for even a little bit of time. And so I think that Erica's standard was said is just, it's, if the person does not have a standard, or if they feel like they don't have anything to lose, or if they just doing what they want to do, then that is easily crossed because they don't understand it from the level that you would.
Hmm.
And so it goes back to also just making sure that standard is set. Anybody that even can remotely think they're about to build a relationship with me, now where I am at this point in my life, you
Hmm.
you already know it. Don't even, I'm not even gonna try her like that,
Right.
because I don't falter in how I present myself. How I am on this live is how I am at my house, how I am at church is how you gonna see me at the restaurant up the street. It's just, it is what it is. And when that standard is set in you, the word of God tells us that we have to set a standard in us. And when that's in you, that speaks volumes for you. It's when
Hmm.
other people don't have a standard, or they feel like they don't have anything to lose, or they're whatever the case is, till they're oblivious to that, and they, in their mind, it's my opinion anyway, I think that they don't comprehend to that extent. So then
Hmm.
when you done said what you said, whenever you said it, as you getting to know the person and you stand on that,
Hmm.
people, they get upset with that, because they expect you, well, we close, right? We gonna do whatever. People be like, that's my ride or die. Nah, no. Because what we riding for and what we dying for, you may ride for something that I'm not riding for, and you may die for something that I'm not dying for. So
Right.
let's make that clear, so that there's
Right.
no misunderstanding about
Hmm.
whatever is going to take place.
Hmm.
So I don't think you can really, other than praying about it and asking God to give you discernment and utilizing that in whatever the situations or relationships are. But I don't think you can fully prepare
Hmm.
to not have those situations arise, because being in certain situations help us anyway for
Hmm.
what's next. So in this relationship, platonic or whatever, friendship, um I may have overlooked these red flags, right? So
Hmm.
next time I build a relationship with somebody and I see that it's looking like it's they going over here, no,
Hmm.
I can go ahead and address that. That's why I
Right.
think communication is so important. I will over communicate,
Okay.
even in my job, talking
Hmm.
to these parents. I
Hmm.
don't leave no room for you to say you don't know. You
Hmm.
didn't know that your child was gonna get an F on his report card. Oh yes, you did, and here's my
Hmm.
receipt. I done sent you the
Hmm.
screenshot of the test. I done told you where they at and what we can do. And if you choose not to act on it, or you don't have a standard in yourself for your own child, it's not my problem, because um Not to say that it's not my problem because I'm going to do what I need to do, but you
Mhm.
can't say that you didn't know.
Right.
So I think as long as you have a standard within yourself and you're sure about who you are and what you will and will not compromise, yes, Coach Erica, it hurt because you weren't, because I guess the bond that you built with that person, you weren't expecting whatever to happen to happen, but it's no fault to your own because you set a standard and you stood on it. So
Mhm.
yes, it hurt because we're human, right? We have those feelings and emotions that become attached to people, and you think that they're not going to do whatever, but in reality, they're human too. And a lot of times, we are different places, but I don't think that there's really much that you can do to prepare for that other than, um, just praying and discerning. And when even I think Kayla said it, even when you think it's the smallest of red flag, it even if it's a little pinkish,
Yeah.
you need to go ahead and address that. So that's just
Mhm.
where I'm at.
I want to ask, so where does the communication, whose responsibility is it to communicate? Because
Oh,
you know
that's
how we say sometimes, like, we have to make sure that we're clear, even
right.
though, you know what I'm saying, like, to, in a sense, get it off of us, you know. But
Mhm.
when it's situations like this, um, do you just in your mind say, well, you know what, I know I ain't did nothing, it was them, that's it? Or do you, whose responsibility is to have the conversation? Do you wait, or do you say, you know what, I'm gonna take the lead on this? Or do you say, like, how does that work?
For me, let me tell you, it depends upon what happened. Okay, if we could be crass, if we could, be open, there there was something that I did to Erica, not knowing that I did that. She came to me and said, "Hey, you did this, and I didn't quite understand why." We had a conversation about it. So the offended came to the offender, not knowing, and we handled it and we've moved on. So I feel like if you feel offended, then you should go to that person, because sometimes people don't know that they've done something to you unless you say something about it. Now, I have been offended and didn't go to them. I kind of like laid back and said, let me see, maybe something happened or maybe I misunderstood what they were saying. But then eventually I had to go back and say, listen, we can't move forward in what we're trying to build because I'm still kind of harboring, you stepping on my toe, for instance, and you didn't say excuse me. So I was offended and I went to the offender. I feel like if you feel offended, then you should go to that person. It shouldn't always be someone else taking the initiative. If in order to free yourself, you have got to step up and say, listen, we can't move forward or we can't go down this road again. Even if it separates the relationship, at least you have voiced your concern and now you can move on. Because truth be told, human flesh, that thing will eat us up. We will start thinking about what we could have said, what we should have said, what we could have did. No, if we go ahead and address it now, then because the Bible tells us to do what? Lay your gifts at the altar, right?
Mhm.
Get it right. Let's reconcile, and then let's go back. So I feel like the offended should be the one, to go to the offender. Because sometimes people know and sometimes they don't know. But if you go ahead and get it all for you, like you said, then you're clear. That's just my take on it.
And for me, a lot of times, if I'm praying about a situation and I don't know how to communicate, you know, what happened or how I feel, a lot of times God will bring that person right across my path. And it'll
Mhm.
start off with a simple hug. Hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. Oh, by the way, God will
Mhm.
set that thing up to where you'll be able to talk about it, you
Right.
know, and it won't be no hurt feelings. You may not allow that person back into your space, but like for me, even if you hurt me, even if you chop my head off, because of the love that I have for people, I'm
Right.
gonna forgive them. They
Right.
might not never be back into my inner space. They might not get the opportunity to call me, every day or what have you. But God will always, He has always set that thing back up to where that person come cross my path. I don't care where we at, and we get the opportunity to talk about it. Now, it is always His timing and never my timing.
Mhm.
Because in my timing, it may not go right. But when God set that thing up to where we're in position to communicate it and talk about it,
Right.
it's a done deal. And it's, for your fight, Kate, I'm gonna say, even for my daddy daughter, I see
Mhm.
her every day at work. We don't talk. But I know that God is gonna set it up to where I'm gonna be able to corner her, and we're gonna be able to talk about whatever she's going through. That's why
Mhm.
it don't bother me, because you know what, I can cut you off and won't even give two thoughts about you.
I can.
That's the Erica side of me. But
Yeah.
the Christ in me,
Come on.
God
Right.
will always set it up to where it's gonna be a space to where we're gonna be able to talk about. And it's not gonna be in, I'm not gonna be in my feelings, but it's gonna be the Christ in me
Yeah.
that's gonna be able to come out to where it always ends up to where I always in a position to where it's not about my hurt. It's not about what you done to me, but it's about what God is trying to get to them so that they can get their deliverance,
Right. Right.
where He gets the glory out of the situation. It's not about our feelings, it's
Right.
about the assignment. So that's why a lot of times the hurt, the misunderstanding, the non communication, when He has me in, it's not about me. My feelings get hurt, yes, because that's the human side, but it's
Right.
about the bigger picture,
That's it.
Mhm. Yeah.
which is
Absolutely.
Christ. And them
Absolutely.
people getting their deliverance. Y'all can hurt me all day, but you, in reality, it's not Erica that you hurting. It's the
Mhm.
Christ that's in me, and it's
Mhm.
the anointing that God is going to use to restore them.
Right. Right. I love it. Absolutely. Be what you got on that.
Um, well, uh, I think
This be good.
I'm the person that I can, going back to like what Kayla originally asked, I can do either way. If someone has offended me or if I've offended someone, of course, like knowing that I offended them, whether it's I know that what I did was wrong or I didn't realize it, and God shows me like, now you got to go get that right because you weren't right. So,
Mhm.
but I also pray for the opportunity, like Erica just said. I pray even if I know I have to go to somebody. Like now, I've been praying about the situation for God to open up the opportunity because there's some stuff that I need to say, and we need to get some understanding and some clarity. But I
Yeah,
don't want to do it too soon.
Whoa.
I don't want to do it too soon, and I don't want to go like I had to ask God to help me deal with my emotions and my feelings, because when I
Yeah.
Mhm.
talk, I need to be just like this. I need to be bold, and I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about. 'Cause I know what I'm talking about, but sometimes your emotions take over and it
Mhm.
makes you feel like you don't, or it comes out like you don't. But no,
You
I need to be able
crying.
to
You
speak.
trying to tell it.
And
Jesus.
people can interpret that like, a completely different way. No, 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 no. I'm crying because I'm trying to get these emotions together because I can't
Right.
deal with what I want to deal with. So I need God to come in. So I think it is very, very important for people to be open to both sides and not, I forgot which one you said it, but not waiting on if somebody has offended you, not waiting on them to come to the realization because they may not. And
Right.
more so not if they don't have a foundation or a relationship with God per se, and they're not open to that line of communication with him, because he'll get you together,
Right.
especially when you did something you ain't got no business doing and you have messed with one of his children.
Mhm.
And so that's my take on it. I think it goes back to communication as well. It is so very, very, very important to be able to communicate. Communication is Very important. If it wasn't, God wouldn't have opened up his mouth in creation. He communicated to the atmosphere what he needed to be done.
Mm.
So that
Mhm.
shows us right there. That's the blueprint. That communication is very, very important. But we, allow our feelings, our emotions, and stuff like that to take over. I ain't saying nothing to her. She knows she did. She know what she did was wrong. Well, how do you know that?
How do
How
you
do you
know?
know that she know that what she
Right.
did was wrong? Because that could be her level of communication based on how she grew up. The people in her house never talked to each other. They just dealt with whatever, or all they did was argue and fuss and fight. And then after that, they don't talk. Versus you may be in a household where you disagree and y'all are able to talk about it, and even that you still love on each other. It's like nothing ever happened. So people's levels of communication are different, but it's good to establish that in any relationship moving forward. And it's good to also communicate to people so that they know how to treat you. If you don't tell them, they think they can talk to you any kind of way, and it don't work over here for me. No, it don't, because I've dealt with that, because people have
Right.
taken me being quiet, me being an introvert,
Mhm.
as I don't know how to communicate, or is something wrong with me? I got a mental disability or something. I'd be like, no, I'm very sane. Now, the
I think
sameness
B is
is
triggered.
probably what you need to be concerned about.
I think
But
B has triggered.
Yes, that's why I
B is
mentioned this a
concerned.
bit.
She has been triggered.
so
Woo. Yeah, you're right though, B. You're right. That is so true.
Yeah.
So,
And this is good. This is good commentary because somebody, this had to be for somebody, because somebody on the line coming back to watch it need to get something right. And they've been trying to figure out how to get it right. What do I do?
Mm.
You've got to stand in boldness,
hmm
with the right spirit, and say what you need to say, and ask God for to season your words with grace. I think sometimes we pray that, but I don't know if we really mean it. But when your words are seasoned with grace, it comes off better than if you were emotional. And so, in that explanation piece, and in what should have been understood, I'm learning that written communication comes off very different from spoken communication. I am
hmm
learning that as a person I do not like to talk on the telephone. I do not. I loathe talking on the telephone. I will send an email or a text message in a minute, but I'm finding that
hmm
sometimes the tone in the text is not really the intention of the message. And so I have to go back and really, okay, let me pick up the phone and say what I need to say, because it's coming off a little bit different, or I didn't, or the response sometimes that you get is like, whoa, well, where that came from? And then you realize, oh, well, what I said was this. They just
Mm.
responded to how they thought it was being said. So even in that, like having to explain, sometimes we have to go back, with those that we are in close proximity to. Though we said it in the beginning, you know the pattern, you know what to look for, you know what you're dealing with. So you don't get in your feelings. You just say, hey, I know you might be going through something right now. I just want to make sure you're okay. Can you just give me a thumbs up? Can you let me know? Something like that. So somebody is on here, because we've jumped from this to communication. Somebody is trying to figure out they need to have a conversation, and they're trying to figure out how to get that done. And I just believe that the door is going to be open, but don't miss that opportunity to go ahead and do it, because you allow fear to grip you. Don't allow fear to grip you. Go ahead and do what you need to do so that you can move forward peaceably, and so that you can, of course, go into this new year with a clear conscience and a clear mind. I think that this has really been good conversation on tonight. It is really opened up our eyes. We have realized, some of us have realized that, hey, I need to work on the way I communicate. Hey, there's some things I still need to say, that kind of thing. Or, hey, I could communicate a little bit better than what I've been communicating. So, Erica, get ready to take us out of here. Give us the final words.
I this was good, and this kind of brought me back to the whole time you all was talking. I thought about how, back in the, I can say older days now, because I'm a little bit more seasoned, It'll be 51 in a few weeks. But when people used to preach holiness or hell,
Mhm.
it was holiness or hell, holiness and hell. They never talked about the in between journey to crossing over. You might be in hell, but when you get ready to cross over into
Mhm.
holiness, there is a standard.
Mhm.
There is a standard. And
Mhm.
in relationships, when it comes to communicating, there is a standard. And if you know the person, just like when you go back, I don't know why I keep hearing holiness or hell, but when
Mhm.
you know the person that you are in relationship with, whether it is holiness or hell,
Mhm.
when you trying to communicate who you
Mhm.
are, a lot of times we misinterpret that because of, B has said it, Kayla has said it, you has said it, because of the trauma that we have been through, because of how we was raised, the different households. But when you come to a point of maturity in your relationship and how you love the individual that you want to be in relationship with, it's like a
Mhm.
marriage. You got two imperfect people coming together to where you have to communicate how you feel. In a marriage, you go into, you don't know what you like, what you dislike.
Right.
So what I tell the married couples, you have to be able to communicate. If you don't like that touch, say
Say.
so.
Mhm.
If you don't like how it's been said, say
Mhm.
so. It
Mhm.
has to be talked about waving that white flag
Mhm.
in any given relationship that you are in, holiness or hell,
Mhm.
marriage, friendship, sisterhood, parenthood.
Mhm.
We go into these relationships not knowing how to do the job.
Mhm.
But it's like conversations like these is teaching us how to do the work.
Mhm.
You have to learn how to do the work. You have to learn how to communicate. We teach our children good touch, bad touch,
Right.
good words, bad words.
Mhm.
Know the person that you're in relationship with. Get to know the person, the good, the bad, the ugly. Communicate it all. If your feelings is hurt, suck it up.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Have the conversation.
Mhm.
Can
Amen.
we?
Amen.
So you saying what I should have did was gave you a test run before I got in a relationship with you to learn some stuff.
Ain't nobody say
Oh,
test
okay.
run
I'm
nothing.
just.
Holiness or hell.
I should
Holiness.
have gave you a test. Let's start this thing over. We ain't gonna finish it now. We gonna start over. I'll write out something. We'll start over, and yeah, we
Holiness.
got to start over.
But you have, before we got into a relationship, you sat back and you watched.
I guess.
You sat back and you watched.
How did I get sucked into this? Is what I be thinking
Yeah.
sometimes.
Relationships is critical for our success and our destiny,
That's right.
That's right.
whether good, bad, or indifferent. That's just like this journey we on.
That's
Mhm.
it.
We may not have choose the family we was born in, but
Yeah,
we can
That's it.
choose the family that we decide to do this journey with.
Mhm.
that's right.
Absolutely.
From the
Out.
north, south, east, and west. Amen.
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 So
Yeah.
so you in it. you you in it. What it say? In it. That's what you is. You in it.
Ah, up and scoop.
Yeah, you in it. There was no 1, 2, 3, release them. No, you in it. Okay.
Ooh, help
So she
me.
just let you know there's nowhere to go.
But
This
if
is
you
big.
look at the dynamic, if you
Hmm.
look at the dynamic of this group,
Yeah.
you got bold, you got courageous,
Hmm.
you got fearless,
Hmm.
you got mm, four different individual personalities that come together to make a it comes together to make a perfect square.
Right.
Four different types of temperaments.
Mhm.
And when you learn the temperament of each individual that you are part of, this is a perfect, uniquely made square from the north, south, east, and west.
Yeah.
You got four different women that has gone through life,
Mhm.
four different wounded women that
Right.
can come together to reach the nations.
Yeah.
Four different women that praise in four different areas that covers this nation.
Mhm.
The strength, the bond, the communication styles, four different communication styles that come together for a whole, that fits together for his purpose,
Right.
that can reach four different atmospheres to where it can come together to make a fist. When you put together your fist, it's the heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of the Lord to where we can come together and divide and conquer and reach the masses. And then when we hold our hand out, you think about when you say God has the whole world in his hand, but you're able to open up your hand to do what God has created us to do. When you ball up your fist, it's a heartbeat. It's your heartbeat.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You open up your hand, it's the world. And because we know how to communicate,
Right.
not in our own feelings, but to be able to communicate what we've been through
Right.
so that we can reach the nations.
Yeah.
This is just not a Orlando platform
Mm-hmm.
or St. Augustine. What where you at now, Coach Sabrina?
Don't tell. She's somewhere down there,
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah. You know, this is not a Georgia thing.
Right. Right.
We reach the masses by coming together.
Come on, Fist. Come on, Fist.
That's my friend, and I'm gonna stick beside her. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
Mhm.
And I
Every,
Amen.
love that for you. I
I, look,
love that.
I, I'm just saying, I have to stick beside her. Are you gonna cry?
Absolutely.
Are you gonna cry this time, Erica?
I probably am.
Okay,
Amen.
okay, that's fine. I just like to get a head, I like to
Amen.
be,
Every time
expecting.
you know it's coming. You know it's coming. So just keep the napkins. Get the handkerchief.
Ooh, y'all,
And
we
we gonna
can't make
say
this up. This is just real raw conversation,
it is.
relationship. I
It
mean, we
is.
can't make this up. It's
And
just
I
what
love
we.
it.
It's
I
it.
love it. It has been really good tonight, you all. Listen, we want you to be reminded that we are here every first Friday of the month. You can find us with a real conversation that's not scripted. We don't have no notes, ain't no chat GPT, ain't no AI. It's from the dome. It's from the heart. It's straight off the cuff. What you get, what you see is what you get. We did miss Erica coming in because usually we have some kind of blooper in the beginning of the show. I mean,
Mhm.
she came in towards the middle. Kayla just bust into laughter. I didn't know what was happening. I was trying to stay focused. She just automatically went in. So it did her heart good to know that she did not have to call the local funeral home and to see if you were there. So she just was excited about that. So this has been good tonight, y'all. We thank you so much again. Join us next first Friday in the month of February. We will be having a new conversation and a new topic. So until next time, bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.
V. I.